Welcome to my anime review of One Piece episode 1014. Been a while. I think the last episode I reviewed was 1000, but obviously big return for the anime. And it's been a month since the last episode that we got. Obviously we know the reason. Toei Animation got hacked, so now that's in the past and we can move on to bigger and better things. And judging from this episode, I can't wait to see what's ahead. This episode was great for getting you hyped for the next episode, also setting some other things up as well, which I'll get into. It's just cool to talk about the One Piece anime again, just in general. So let's start off with the beginning, obviously, with the father under Kaido being conflicted with actually being ordered to attack Marco because he's obviously a threat to Queen. He actually has a way of curing the ice that's inside the possessed Onis that are attacking, flame the enemy, so he can actually reverse the damage and reverse the effects. Obviously this is to cover Chopper so he can come up with the antibodies, and it looks like he's pretty much prepared. I do like the attention to detail though, because while he's about to be attacked, Robin and Brooke, which I did appreciate, tried to help him, but Marco's like, no, step back, I've got this. Go on ahead inside the castle, which is great because we know, for the manga readers, we know that where that's going to lead pretty soon. So I can't wait for that. So that was actually pretty cool because I don't think we got that in the manga. And obviously this is like for the two right-hand men of their respective captors to actually do what they can to help out the situation. In this case it's Marco and Zoro. Then he picks up Zoro and flies back. And then this is what triggers the flashback when Marco's thinking about Ace, wanting to go back to Wano. And obviously this is the fallout from the recent episode and his connection with Wano in general, because Ace wanted to help out and take down Kaido. Whitebeard's no, because look what happened to the last second in command of that, obviously being Kazuki Oden. He was too strong, and even Kaido defeated him. How effective will you be against the Yonko? And Whitebeard knows better than anyone how strong Kaido is. So he's being the abusive father, like just knocking Ace around, trying to educate him. Like, you're not up to Kaido's level, so don't even think about it. And there is a bit of interesting dialogue when it comes to like teach, because he's thinking Ace, oh, I understand you want to go to Wano to make a name for yourself because you want to take down a Yonko. So that's obviously Teach's motivations, but obviously Ace's motivations, like, no, he made a promise, and as soon as Blackbeard heard that, it's like, oh no, I'm not interested in that. He's all about the greed, so he takes off, and his classic Z ha ha ha. There's a mention of why Whitebeard couldn't go back. First off, they didn't get the news until after the Odin had already been executed, so they had no idea of knowing, because obviously Wano is closed off from the rest of the world, so yeah, that's a problem. The second thing is, if they had gone, it would have created a war, and it would have included a lot of innocent people, so yeah, that's the reason why Whitebeard couldn't go back to Wano and help out the situation. So that was cool. I got cool. We had to take this massive plot device away in the form of Whitebeard from helping out Odin, because that would have been the end of Kaido. Whitebeard, and keep in mind, we know Whitebeard was in the same crew as Big Mom and Kaido under the Rocks Pipes, which we get a lot more info by the end of this episode. So that's going to be a shocker to a lot of anime only. Obviously Marco tearing up because he's thinking about Ace. Obviously now he has to do what he can to help out situation. In this case, it's like getting Zoro to the battlefield. It's like kind of a cool like exchange of dialogue between the two. It's like you're kind of like calm and level-headed, even though you're going up against the Yonko. And Zoro's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's an order from my captain. I got to see this through. We go over to where Atama, Nami, and Usopp are at, and Nami finally points out to Tama that Luffy and Ace were brothers, and now we get kind of like a montage of what happened when that Ace has already died. He's not coming back, and there's a kind of cool callback here when Usopp is talking about Luffy, how he was talking to Vivi back in Alabasta, like, oh, people die. That's just how it is, and it's so nonchalant. But there's just so many layers to Luffy's character, because like he can be super quirky and super funny, but he can be super serious and straightforward at the same time. So it's great. So then Nami snaps Tama out of it by saying, it doesn't matter, because if it would have bothered Luffy, he would have snapped at you, which obviously he didn't. So that just shows more to Luffy's maturity than anything else. But Nami's like, oh, we need to focus on your plan. And I'm guessing it's going to have something to do with the Kibidango. It was still kind of a wholesome moment, especially with Nami acting like an older sister or a mother to Tama, like, don't worry, it'll be fine, we'll help you, we'll protect you, so don't worry about it. So, which is good. Again, the setup in this episode was great considering what we got going forward. Transition over to Yamato, Shinobu, and Momonosuke, and he finds out that Ace, who Yamato met, is obviously the brother Luffy. So he's very shocked by this. But the most important detail, if you obviously have to have noticed, is that Yamato has the logbook, he has the journal that Odin wrote. So that's going to be presented to Momonosuke pretty soon. And obviously she mentions how Luffy's name has a D, the same way that Ace did. So it's the will of D. It's not a coincidence that Luffy's here. Then we go to the top of the Skull Dome, and this is where the hype for episode 115 kicks in, because you see, this is the thing I said about Wano ever since the beginning. The thing I appreciate the most, obviously the art style animation has been on point, but the thing about the attention to detail. Obviously we see Big Mom, or Prometheus and Zeus are charging up, see them getting bulked up, ready for what's to come, and but yeah, that was a great touch, like showcasing Big Mom, and then having Big Mom make her way to Kaido. Considering what we got next week, yeah. And then we go back to Marco and Zoro, and this is kind of cool. We get King and Queen in the zone forms confront Marco, and Marco's still able to grab a hold of them. And as he's doing this, he just tosses Zoro up on top of the roof. So Zoro's on the roof now. That fight's set now with King and Queen against Marco. Obviously, two calamities against Marco. That's going to be epic. Oda has the advantage. He can give the go ahead of what to include in these episodes, and Oda can take this opportunity that he couldn't get in the manga because obviously for time constraints, and obviously the schedule that he has. And I have to say, like the previous episode, like the whole dynamic between Yamato and Ace, to me it doesn't matter whether you think there's romantic feelings between the two. What matters is like we get more depth into Yamato's character and why she's going down this path. And they have added certain things when it comes to like Luffy and Yamato's dynamic, which I think is going to be very prevalent going forward. There is something about Yamato in the anime. It could be just the voice actor, Sayori Hayami, who's done a great job of voicing Yamato. I said this before, back in episode 1000. The way the anime has handled Yamato has been on point. And they've shown they can execute important plot points, and we know only watch One Piece are like singing the praises of Yamato right now. But let me tell you something right now. Once we get into the actual content that we have in the manga in animated form, I guarantee you, the One Piece character popularity poll, Yamato is going to be not just in the top 10. I think she's going to be in the top 8 by far. There's already people that want her to become a Nakama, to join the Straw Hats. The stars do align, especially with Yamato having the connection with Ace, and obviously now meeting Luffy, re-established, like, yeah, I have really appreciated what they've done with Yamato's character and so far in the anime. So that after Zoro gets tossed on the roof, we see Big Mom and Kaido, and then we get some interesting dialogue when it comes to like, what's Kaido going to do with Onigashima now Kaido's literally making Onigashima move, and he said he's going to drop it on the castle, the Flower Capital, which will kill a lot of the people, to usher in the new Onigashima, taking over Wano. So yeah, now's a problem. This is where we go back down. The hype continues. It builds up and it builds up, and because we see the minks who are trying to is to guard the stairway, so Luffy can use that to get up to the top of the roof. That's what they're there for. You know what was coming. In comes Luffy like a stampede, just takes care of the father, and he's giving a shout out to the minks, obviously for Sicilian, because obviously for what happened with Riser back at Zoe, so that was actually pretty cool. And then we go back to obviously the most informative part of the episode, which is Kaido talking with Big Mom, and Big Mom says to Kaido, I don't care what you do with everybody else, just leave Nico Robin. Do not kill her, because I need her for the raw poneglyphs. Kaido counters that by asking Big Mom about Pudding. She has the ability to read the raw poneglyphs if she awakens her third eye, which she hasn't, which is why Big Mom needs Nico Robin. And then she asks about the Flower Capital, because obviously is that where the raw poneglyph is at? And Kaido's like, oh, he gets triggered because he's like, aren't you're already thinking about making your move already? So, and Big Mom's like, don't underestimate me. I still think of you as my little brother. After the God Valley incident and the downfall of the rocks, Kaido was given his devil fruit by Big Mom, which we couldn't find out as a mythical fish fruit. So that's the debt that Kaido owes Big Mom, a lifelong debt. And Kaido's like, okay. So now we know the anime is back. Apparently episode 1015 is going to be directed by Megami Ishitani. Directed 2 episodes of One Piece already. Episode 957 and episode 982. If those episodes ring a bell, they should, because they're 2 of the best looking episodes of the series, not just in Wano. Episode 957 was the episode where we got the blockbuster news that the Shishibukai system got abolished, and we saw how epic the art style and the animation was. That episode was amazing. Also, episode 982, which you could argue is probably one of the best episodes post time skip, but in One Piece in general. That was the episode where Jinbei came back and got inducted to the... Not yet, because obviously they got to throw the banquet, but obviously that's where Luffy puts a hold to the banquet to include Jinbei into the Straw Hats, and also where the Toby Robo got introduced. So 2 very top tier episodes that was directed by Megami Ishitani. So I can't wait to see what happens with this episode 1015. So now we've pretty much covered the episode. I want to dive into Film Red. So we got the trailer dropped this week, and like I thought after the recent chapter dropped, I said I pretty much bet that the colour schemes for each of the Straw Hats would be revealed, and sure enough, we got all 10 Straw Hats included. So we now know the colour schemes for each of them. Jinbei was the last, obviously it made sense. Robin's my personal favourite, but I do like Luffy's. I also like Usopp's design as well, so I can't wait to see what it looks like in the movie. Speaking of which, we get the trailer, and there's not really much to break down. That's why I wanted to include this into this review, because obviously it was only a minute plus trailer. But there are some interesting scenes and some interesting dialogue for sure. We now know the girl Uta and what her role is going to be in the movie, and we also know the connection. So that's crazy. I don't know if she's actually going to be like the final villain of the movie. Judging from how much they're showing already, I don't think so. I think she's going to be kind of like the second in command, kind of like Baccarat was back in One Piece film Gold. But I think Uta could be a much better, fully fledged character. There's literally potential there. And so obviously the biggest bombshell to come out of this trailer, there's obviously the dialogue of where Uta is apparently the daughter of Shanks. That's a bombshell. There are some things I want to cover over that, because obviously the most important part is like, oh wow, Shanks had a daughter. You had no idea. It's not just Shanks that says this. Luffy says this as well. It's like Shanks knew what his daughter was up to. He wouldn't stay quiet. That bombshell's led to a lot of speculation. Now the question I have is this movie canon to the main story? We now know what kind of role Shanks has in the movie. I kind of figured it wasn't going to be present, because obviously Oda's saving that for the manga. We're going to get some flashback and some much insight into the mystery of Shanks, because there's still a lot we don't know about when it comes to Shanks. And obviously a daughter is a major one. This could be one of 2 things. Either one that is literally Shanks' daughter. This is my gut instinct. Or this could be a case of what we have with Sabo, Luffy, and Ace. Like, they're not blood relative brothers, but they became brothers over the bond and the exchange of the cup of sake. It could be that. I don't know. There's not enough information for us to like completely confirm. Okay, this is it. This is Shanks' daughter. No, it could just be like, oh, Shanks could be a father figure to Uta, because, again, like I said, if that's the case, then how canon is this story to the actual series? Be a huge revelation when it comes to like Shanks going forward. Oh, is Shanks going to drop a hint about his daughter that one time in the past that Luffy ended up meeting in the movie? Like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. So there has to be a way for them to like kind of explain this, and I think that's probably the way they're going to go. I could be wrong, but let me know what you guys think. But the most intriguing thing I'm looking forward to is like the exchange, the dialogue between the two. It looks like Trafalgar Law and Bartolomeo are going to be in the movie as of right now. Also Akainu. And if you read like where we got each of the visuals for the characters, obviously we got the Straws. We also got one of Uta. If you look at the English translation, it clearly says Uta quit being a pirate. So that's interesting too. So Shanks having a daughter. It's not the only time we've seen this like come out of nowhere. Obviously it's a big thing, because obviously we don't know anything about Shanks. But we didn't know anything about Kaido either, and we literally got introduced to Yamato. We had no idea that was a child of Kaido, though they had a child. So that was out of left field, and just like Yamato, Uta has the potential, I think, to be one of the best non-Straw Hat movie characters. Remember, just with Mark of the Phoenix, the One Piece anime rises again. Finally, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like the review if you did it, thumbs up, I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys.